I was really little, and let me tell you, I was a cute kid. Okay?
I picture of you in your big old glasses.
No, before that, I was a cute kid. There's a picture on my Facebook, if you find me, and it's like one of my first profile pictures. Now, this was before Facebook, but I was like 5 years old. I was standing out in front of the house that my parents were building, and I was cute. Okay? So I want you to think of cute little, like 5, 6-year-old Wesley.
I picture a baby's body with your head on it.
That's too much tan. And then if I hit a button, I hit one like this. But okay, so I'm at the mall, okay? I'm not sure what store I was in, but I'm going to say this because I know it makes my wife mad. I was at Belk's. Apparently there's no S on Belk's. It's just Belk. But I was at Belk with my grandmother, okay? And do you remember being 5, kind of?
No.
Yeah.
No. Do you remember being small? You remember the smallest things would amaze you, right?
Yeah.
Let me tell you what caught my attention this day. The escalator. And it wasn't the steps, it was the rail. And I vividly remember we had gotten to the top, and my grandmother had been distracted by one of the mannequins somewhere. I don't really know. She was there, and we were right beside the escalator.
Oh, no.
And so we had just came up the escalator, and I'm looking at it. Okay? Now, this is a little side note. I told you I'm going to go every which way. You know they have those little red buttons that you press for in case of emergency? I've always wanted to press one of those, and I never did. So, that's just a little side note. But, so I'm standing there beside this elevator, and what does a little 5-year-old do? I play with it. And so here I am, little 5-year-old me, and I'm pretending I am so strong, I am pulling these stairs up. And so I'm like grabbing hold of the handrails and I'm pulling because, you know, it's doing all the work. And I'm pretending like I'm pulling. And I don't know how long this goes on for. But something happens and my attention breaks and I'm like, where's my grandma?
Oh.
Where's my grandma? Grandma! And I'm like running around and I'm crying and I do not know where my grandma is. And then grandmas do what grandmas do. How dare you left me? And she grabs me up like I ran away. And I was like, but I didn't do anything. But I was lost. Okay? There's my first story, okay? So now we're going to go up a few years. Make sure I got the right story. Okay. So I was 16, okay? I was in high school. I had gotten my driver's license. I had a little Mazda beige hatchback.
Oh,
Yeah.
It was a chick magnet.
It was not a chick magnet.
Big wishes.
I did. We'll get to that in a second. However, and I will stand, I've used this statement many times in my life since then because one of my friends told it to me, and it was funny even though they were making fun of me. How many played Mario Kart? Okay, vast majority. Okay, awesome. I was told when I drove that car, I looked like Bowser in Mario Kart because I was so big in such a little car that my knees had to stick out the side. Good visual. But it was winter. What happens in winter?
No.
Snow.
Oh.
So what happens when you're in school and it snows?
No.
No school. You get out early. Now, do they wait till it starts snowing? Do they let you out a little bit early if it's like definitely coming?
Yeah, they let you out early.
Okay, so I had my driver's license for, it could have only been for a couple weeks. And I get out of school early, and I do not drive a chick magnet car, and the girl says, hey, will you take me home? Yeah, I'll take you home. And so we start driving, and I'm talking to the girl, and she's telling me where to go, and I get her there, and she says, thanks. I think my boyfriend's going to come over and see me.
Oh.
And I was like, oh. And then I go get in the car, and I have no clue where I am.
Oh, God.
And I think I remember how to get home.
You bet you get
Oh, I get lost. Now, when I say I get lost, I'm from a different area than where you're from. So I won't use names of places because you won't understand.
Wait, will you for me?
I will for you. Apparently, I somehow made it to an intersection of 3 separate counties. And because here I am driving, and I'm getting into more mountain areas, and I'm like, I don't even live near a mountain. And then I see a sign, and it says, "Welcome to Wells County." And I'm like, this is not the place I need to be. So I come back out, and I drive like, no lie, like 30 seconds, it feels like. And then I see another sign that says, "Welcome to Alexander County." I'm like, I'm home. And then I keep going for about another 30 seconds, and then I see a sign that says, "Welcome to Iredell County." And I'm like, what just happened? I do not know where I am. So, I had a cell phone, okay? This was in a time where we had cell phones. I'm not that old.
It was a flip.
But, no, it wasn't a flip phone. It was a little Motorola phone. It was about this big, it was silver. And it did not have GPS. It did have the snake game on it, if none of you have ever played it. It's a lot of fun. But I did not have service where I was, so I didn't know anybody to call. I can't call my parents because I got out early. I should have went straight home. It's not responsible to go out driving in the snow when you had your license for a couple weeks. So to put you in the mindset of where I am. Okay, you ready for this? I don't know if you're all going to catch this reference, but I'm going to go for it. I was out. And there's no houses. And so I see the first house, and I'm like, there's a car there. I have no idea where I'm at. How do I get home? So I pull into the driveway. And I get out of my car. And this guy walks out. And I don't remember his face. I do remember that he had steel-toe work boots on that were not laced. He had on light blue jean cut-off shorts that were like cut off up here. Yeah, about that color, light blue. Cut off so you see all the fringes and stuff. But he has the boots on too. Now, bear in mind you, it's supposed to be snowing. The flakes have started coming down. And he has no shirt on.
Oh my gosh.
Now, I would tell you that he was abnormally hairy. It looked like he had a white sweater on, but he did not. It would have been a sweater vest though. But he comes out. "Can I help you find something, boy?" And I'm like, I'm lost. I don't know how to get home. "Where are you trying to get to?" "Taylorsville." "Oh, you're just going to go down this road right here until you get to 90 and you're turn right and take you right in Taylorsville." Nicest guy I've ever met. And I said, "Thanks, bye." And I went and got my car and I left as fast as I could. And sure enough, I drove straight down that road and it took me right to where I needed to go. All right, my third story about me. So we talked about my little girls yesterday, and I love them so much, but they frustrate me. So we were outside, and our girls, they hate being outside for some reason. I don't know why. They do. And you can say, "Okay, I need you to go to the bathroom. I want you to get a cup of water." And you're like, "I'm covered." And they're outside for 30 seconds. "I need to go potty." And then they come back in, they go potty, then they go back out. And then like 2 minutes later, "I need to go potty again." So we're all outside, and I'm about from here to the kitchen door from our sliding glass doors. And one of our little girls, McKinley, goes inside. She goes to the bathroom, and she's coming back out. And so McKinley walks out the door. "McKinley, shut the door. McKinley, shut the door. Shut the door. Shut the door. McKinley, shut the door. Shut the door. Shut the door. Shut the door. McKinley, shut the door." By this point, she's about 15 feet away from the door. She's already come down the stairs. "What? Shut the door." "Okay, And then the slowest child possible turns around and starts to walk back to the door to shut it. But by this point, our giant dog has already run out the door. And he takes off.
Oh, God.
And he's a puppy. And I love him dearly. But he's gone. Like the wind.
Wait.
And then I call him, Groot, come here. And he stops, he looks at me like, are you going to chase me? Are you going to chase me? And then I'm, so I start walking. And I walk. And I call. And I walk and I call. And meanwhile, he's running right by me. And I have not made this mistake yet. I've contemplated it. But I will go ahead and tell you, it's not a smart idea to reach out and try to grab the collar of a dog that is running full steam that is like 150 pounds.
Oh.
Because he would take me with him, and I know he would. So I just have to let him run it out. We walk past one neighbor's house, we walk past another one. Groot, come on, come on. And so finally I just kind of squat down and I call him. And he comes to me finally. And I grab him by the collar. And everything in me wants to yell at this dog because I've just had to chase him through all of creation. I'm scared because he's running over railroad tracks. He's chasing cars. And I'm like, so I get him by the collar. And he's like, that was so much fun. I'm tired. Can I go get some water? And then I walk him back to the house. And he goes inside and he drinks water.
And then you close the door.
Yeah, we closed the door. All right, so that's the first thing that we're talking about. I have these papers. I need a volunteer. Okay. I need you to write lost on there, okay? All right, so we're moving on to a different topic. You all ready? Okay. Sin. Okay? What is sin?
It's
Wrong, doing something wrong, wrongdoing. What did you say?
Something that is not right.
Something that is not right.
Something unholy in the sight of God.
Something unholy in the sight of God. Okay, what else you got? What is sin?
something bad.
Something bad. Something opposite of good, okay? What else we got? Huh? Anything? What? Anything. Anybody else? So, if you... Oh, where's the hand?
I was going to say a force that lives in you.
A force that lives in you. Okay. Sin. Huh?
That means in my Bible.
Okay, go for it.
Okay. Anything you do that goes against the things God has commanded in the Bible, then is also referred to as disobedience.
Also referred to as disobedience. Okay. Anybody else? I'm not saying any of those are wrong, by the way. I'm just seeing what all's out there. So what did we talk about yesterday?
The water.
We talked about cups, yeah. Pandemonium, we did talk about pandemonium.
Perspective.
Talk about age. Perspective, okay. What else? Idols, okay. So, I told you this week we're going to work on vocabulary and perspective to kind of give you an idea of what, or not what, how great God is, okay? So, yesterday we talked about perspective and idols, because that really idols had a lot to do with the verse that is our verse this week. So, this week, or today, we're going to talk about sin, and then we're going to talk about another word here in a minute. But so sin, if you look up the Greek word for it means missing the target. Okay? So, who here has shot a gun?
Wait, a real gun?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Or a BB gun.
I shot
The
it.
big gun's on me.
12 gauge. Okay. Who here has shot a bow and arrow? Awesome. I love it. All right.
I hate both of them.
Who here has shot at targets? Okay, awesome. How'd you do?
Horrible.
Okay. I heard lots of different answers. Okay. All right. So, missing the target. Okay? So, I need somebody else.
Okay.
Me.
Okay, I saw her in the first time, so I'm going to get her. And then you're next. Okay. I can only do a couple things at once before I get crazy. Okay, draw me a bullseye on that, okay?
Ooh.
All right, so missing the target. Okay?
How many?
No. Surprise me.
Draw a circle.
All right. So, who's familiar with what target looks like? Yep, you got it. All right. So, generally there's different rings, right? Each ring signifies doing something or a certain amount of points sometimes. Sometimes you got the shape of a person, the shape of a deer, the shape of a squirrel, whatever you want. We have a very basic bullseye right here, okay? So, familiar with this? Okay, so normally, when you go shooting with whatever you got, if you get right in here, you're feeling pretty good about yourself, right? Yep. Okay. What does God call for us to do? What was that? Be perfect. That means hitting that very center every time.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. That's not easy, is it?
50 yards.
50, 100, 1,000, it doesn't matter. Hitting the center every time. Sin is not hitting the center. It's not being perfect. Are any of us perfect?
No.
No, absolutely. That's a scary thought, isn't it? Calling for perfection. All right. Would you hold this for me? Draw me a couple more circles. I want a bigger target. All right. Next, we're going to go to some verses, okay? So, we're going to go to Luke 15, and we're going to start in verse 3.
What?
15.
Verse what?
We're going to start with 3. Right, Luke 15, 3 through 7.
Chapter what?
15. Okay. Whose Bible has those handy little subject things up at the top? Isaac, what is your subject thing for this one say?
The parable of the lost sheep.
The parable of the lost sheep. Okay. We're going to do 3 through 7. Okay. The parable of the lost sheep. Who knows why Jesus used parables?
Make.
Good. Yep.
To make it easier to understand.
Make things easier to understand.
It was simpler to use examples and less explain.
Okay. So think about the time period, okay? It's what we've been working towards, right? In this time period, where did people hear about God from? Besides Jesus. Stories? The Pharisees?
People around.
Who talked to God? High priests. So when people felt like they were hearing from God, it was coming from the high priest. And sometimes it wasn't simple. It wasn't understandable. So we're going to, my page turn. Okay, the wind. I'm going to read this verse for you, or these verses, okay? And I'm going to tell you, like the last 10 times I've read it, I will start reading it wrong and then I have to correct myself, even when I'm reading it myself, so I may do that tonight. Okay. Then Jesus told them this parable. Suppose one of you has 100 sheep and loses one of them. Does he not leave the 99 in open country and go after the lost sheep until he finds it? And when he finds it, he joyfully puts it on his shoulder and goes home and calls his friends and neighbors together and says, "Rejoice with me, I have found my lost sheep." I tell you that in the same way there will be more rejoicing in heaven over the one sinner who repents than over the 99 righteous people or persons who does not need to repent. Okay. Do what? No, we'll stick with that right now. Okay. So, what happened before that? Does anybody know? It's in the verses. Give you hints 1 and 2. Now the tax collectors and sinners were all gathering around to hear him. But the Pharisees and the teachers of the law muttered, "This man welcomes sinners and eats with them." Then Jesus told this parable. All right. So that's what happened right before. After, he tells another parable. I'm not going to read that one. I'm going to paraphrase it a little bit. It's about a lost coin. What?
We went over this one.
You went over this in your church? Which one? The lost coin?
All of them.
All of them? Awesome. Tell me about it.
The part, it's like about the lost coin, how it was the gold or silver, and that you would try to go find the thing instead of just saying it wasn't another.
Right. So let's use it like this, okay? Say you had $1,000.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God.
Okay? You got 10 $100 bills. And you have them in your room, and you put them in your pocket. Okay? Then you're getting ready to go to the store to buy you a new iPhone. And you're like, let me make sure my money's here. You pull it out, and you've only got 9. What are you going to do?
Look for it. That sounds like a personal problem.
Sounds like first problem. Then what if you lost a $100 bill? What are you going to do with it?
I'm going to look for it.
You're going to be tearing up your room looking for it, right? Now, what are you going to do with the other 9?
Keep it safe.
Keep it safe?
Leave it on the ground.
Leave it on the ground?
Somebody pick it up and pick it up.
Okay. All right. So you kind of figure out what's going on before and what he talks about afterwards, okay? So what is this verse talking about? Do what?
That we're like the, no, it's kind of like we're the sheep and God's the shepherd, so that every time he would, that like we go away from God,
Right.
he always goes us back.
Awesome. Okay. So, now in my mind, this is why I told you this story, okay? In my mind, I'm thinking about Groot, who took off running and I had to go chase him down. And then I find him, I'm like, awesome, I found my dog, and now I'm going to throw him up on my shoulders, and I'm going to walk home triumphantly. It's not what I did at all. I got halfway drugged, halfway walked my dog home, because I just wanted to get back to my air conditioning. I mean, it is what it is. All right. Now we're going to come back to these, okay? What do we have so far? What was the first thing we talked about? Lost, things getting lost. Me getting lost. Yeah. Okay. What's the next thing we talked about? Sin, targets. Okay. Then we went to lost sheep. What is it? Okay. All right. Next, we're going to talk about soap. And I know you think that's a junior camp issue where they don't take showers and stuff, but bear with me. All right. Soap.
Ain't that where you wash their feet?
Nope. That's not where we're going with this, but I do like that. All right. So I need a volunteer. I got Jody, and then you'll do my last one. All right. All right. So who remembers where I used to work at? I worked in a group home. Correct. Children's home.
Oh, right.
All right. All right. So I worked at a group home, and I worked with all kinds of kids. I worked with a lot of young men, and let me tell you something that I learned about teenagers. Okay? You ready for this?
Yeah.
You are smart.
Yeah.
You will find a way.
We eat Tide Pods.
We're not talking about Tide Pods. But you do some smart things. You can figure things out. Now, you want to know where your fault lies while you're young. Sneaking, okay. What else?
Asleep.
Your sleep,
Eating.
eating,
Snoring.
Electronics.
electronics. No, that's fine.
If you get
Somebody else? Anybody?
What about snoring?
Being too cocky.
Being too cocky? Yep.
Don't listen.
Don't listen.
That's a good one. How
Right.
So, from what I was talking with Karen about this earlier, impulse control. That's one of your biggest weaknesses. Okay? And it really kind of boils down to perception. Okay? So soap is something that we used to do with some boys. And I'm going to tell you about a boy that I had, and I love him very much. He was sneaky. He was smart. And he was impulsive. And that makes for a terrible combination whenever I'm the one in charge. So, we lived in a house, and teenage boy, they have bedtime, they have to bed. What do you think they do? Sneak out, right? First time. Awesome. So, we had alarms at our house, like regular house alarms. Every night I put in the keypad. If they opened up a window, an alarm would go off. Okay? I mean, so, do what?
They went for a event.
Our vents were not that big, but. So, this kid, he could escape out of anything, okay? Anything. And he would get out, and I wouldn't know. And like they would do crazy stuff. He would go out through the top window and like go around the house and like climb down on the gutters. He was smart enough to figure out that the magnetic sensors were magnets, and he got a magnet, and then he was using it to keep the sensor together so that he could open the window and the alarm wouldn't go off. Ingenuity. But it was all impulsive. Okay? He never thought about consequences. And so he would get caught. He would not make it back in time. He would get caught by the police. The police come knock on the door, and he would look at me with big old puppy dog eyes. And then the next night he would just try it again. Yep. Now, we talked about something, and so as one of his consequences, he had to do these things, and it's soap. Okay? So, write soap on yours, okay? I'm coming back, I'm adding one. I'm sorry. Soap, okay?
You want me to do it?
Yeah, I want you to do it. I've got one more after Dougie, too, so. All right, soap, okay? So the S stands for situation, okay? The O are your options, A are your actions, and P is your plan, okay? So we're going to jump to another boy. He was getting in trouble for fighting, okay? Fighting at school, he got in trouble a bunch of times. And he did one of these, okay? His situation was somebody bumped into him in the hallway and gave him the look. You know the look.
He was asking for it then.
That's what he said. So I asked him what his options were. And he said, I hit him. No, you don't hit him.
That's not an option.
And he's like, well, it is an option. I was like, well, you're right. It is an option. What other options do you have? So first thing you do with that is you define your situation. And then you lay out what your options are. Okay? So you can hit somebody. What's your other option?
You can walk away.
You can walk away. What other options you got?
Apologize.
Be a snitch. You hate that word, but okay.
Apologize.
Tell them no.
You can
Apologize. Smack them. All right. So you got all these. We're going to take 2 of those. All right. For sake of time, we're going to take hit them and walk away. Okay.
No, don't walk away. It's like,
Just him. One more time.
No, we're just going to take this. Don't worry.
Just argue instead of hitting.
All right. So what happens if you hit the guy?
you get in
That's
trouble.
what he was
You get in trouble. You get suspended.
You go to,
Jail.
in
He gets what he deserves.
Or you could.
Okay? Now, what happens to you if you get them?
ISS.
ISS suspended. All right. Now, what? All right, well, come back. All right. Now, whenever I asked him that, he said, I hit him, but I feel good. Okay, that's what happens for you. Okay? So, now, so what happens if you walk away?
Nothing happens.
Well, he's like, well, but his answer was,
I'm gonna do it again.
I feel like a punk. Okay? So we went through different options and all that stuff, the different things that could happen in. And so you get to the P, and your P is your plan. What you're going to do when this happens again. What was his plan?
Hit him again.
Hit him. He didn't care. He didn't care about the consequences. Now, when I was there, and I'll say the same thing to you, my biggest thing was, I want you to know what the consequences are for the decisions you make. You're going to make the decisions that you want to make in life. And I may not think that they're the right ones, but you're going to make that. But I want you to think through it. I want you to think about what the consequences are and what that means for you. Okay? All right. Next thing, okay? What do we got so far? We've got lost. What else?
Sorry.
What is the target? Sin. What else we got?
So.
So, what else we got?
Luke 15, 3-7.
Luke 15, 3-7. Okay. So, I'm going to go ahead and tell you that each night I'm going to give you a word that we're going to talk about that is going to start with one of these letters, okay? Tonight's word, who wants to guess what tonight's word is?
Grace.
What? Grapes?
God.
No, we're not talking about, it's not grapes, it's not, these words can give you some perspective of how great God is, okay? What else we got?
Glorious.
Glorious, okay, what else?
Grace.
Generic, you think that's not God?
Generic.
Oh, wow. What else? Grace. Grace. Grace is the word that we're talking about. So, Doty, grace.
Rejoice.
What is grace?
Receiving mercy when it's not deserved.
Okay, receiving mercy when it's not deserved. What else we got? What is grace?
Something you say at dinner.
Something you say at dinner? Little end caps? Yep, okay. What else? Anybody? So, as I was preparing for this and looking things up, I found this and I really liked it. And it's very similar to what you said. Unmerited favor of God. What does unmerited mean? Undeserved. Undeserved favor of God. You got grace right over there? Okay. What are we receiving from God through His grace?
Mercy.
Mercy from what?
The devil.
The great furnace.
The great furnace, okay.
Going down there.
Okay, what else? Huh?
Hope.
We're receiving hope, okay. Huh? We're receiving mercy from eternal death? Okay. All right. So this is kind of where we pull it all together, okay? What did you have? You had Luke 15, 3-7. What were we talking about? The sheep. What was the sheep? What? Lost. Okay? In that story, who are we?
The sheep.
The sheep. And we are
Lost.
Why are we lost?
Sin.
Because we can't hit the target. So we are the sheep who is lost because we can't hit the target. Let that sink in. Now, we're going to use soap. What's our situation?
For sheep that are lost.
We're lost sheep. Okay? What are our options?
Ask God.
Ask for directions. Okay? How well is that going to work out if you're a sheep? Okay? So what are our options? Stay lost or don't. So we are lost in sin. How do you become unlost in sin? God's grace, God's forgiveness. All right. So we're going to circle back around. The very first thing that happened whenever I came up here was the very first thing that I did. No, before that. Huh?
You gave her the option.
I gave her the
You
apple.
should have gave it to me. That's the first thing.
All right.
I've never had that.
So I held up an iPhone and I said, I found this iPhone. If you want it, you have to ask. And she asked, right? All she had to do was ask.
Did you really get
Yeah.
She's got it.
it? You're not going to take it
I'm
back.
not
She
using
can have it if
it.
she wants it. I don't care. Now, I will say that it's a little deceptive. I'm sorry. The iPhone is broken. It doesn't come on. It was Charlotte's iPhone originally. And I'm sorry that I played that trick on you. I apologize. But all she had to do was ask. What do you have to do to receive God's grace? Ask. How simple is that?
Very easy.
Simple.
Now, what happens to the lost sheep? He gets found. Okay? So when you ask for grace and you ask for forgiveness for not hitting that mark, what happens? You're found. And then what happens?
You start hitting, and then you hit it again, and then you should go.
Okay. But then what happens when you don't?
You get lost again. And then you have to ask.
You have forgiveness. Okay? Grace is amazing. It's there for you. Now the bad part is, if you don't ask for it, you get it.
No. Wait, what?
If you don't ask for it, do you get it?
No.
Okay. So let that sink in. We talked about grace a second ago and we asked what you were receiving grace from and why you needed that grace. What you were escaping whenever you got it. It would be a shame if you don't ask for it. God set things in motion a long time ago so that the price that needed to be paid for sin was taken care of for you if you ask for it. You know, every night we're going to talk about the words. And every night I hope it gives you a little bit more perspective about those words. We sang about grace. When you sing these songs, pay attention to them. Don't just sing them. Pay attention to the words. Learn what these words mean. As you go to church, as you go through camp, as you go through life, the more perspective you gain on these words will give you a greater understanding of God and will give you a greater joy from the things that He puts in your life. If you've not asked God for His grace, if you've not felt that forgiveness for being imperfect, think about it. Because it'll change your life. And there is a rejoice like none other when you do. I'm going to ask if they'll come up and play us a song, and I'm going to close us in prayer, okay? Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight, and we thank you for being our guiding light, our GPS, the one who can guide us to where we need to be. I thank you for giving us the chance to receive your grace, to be forgiven for those things that make us imperfect. There are so many ways that we can disappoint you, Lord. There's so many ways that we disappoint ourselves. But yet, whenever you give us your grace and you forgive us, you can look at us like we're perfect. Thanks to the price that Jesus has already paid for us. I just ask that you let that feeling overwhelm us, Lord, so that we can understand how amazing and how great you are, and how your plans for us can lead us to places that we could never imagine. Just pray that you give us perspective, Lord, of who you really are. In your heavenly name we pray. Amen.